Hi everyone, thank you for joining me. I am so excited to tell you about my next Mark Making as Practice Plus session beginning in January 2026. This is the 5th time that I have offered this class, and it just keeps getting better and better. And there have been countless people who have told me that their lives have been changed from this class. And I can't wait to have a new group to make marks with coming up in 2026. So let me first tell you about the mark making part of the class, and then in part 2 of this video series, I'll tell you about the bonus sessions, which are the plus part of Mark Making as Practice Plus. The course is 8 weeks, beginning in January, and I like to begin it in January because that's when people start things. Everybody has, a thing that they want to begin in January. It's the beginning of a new year, so let's begin this. And it really kind of works. If you begin this class in January and you really have a mind to start doing this, people do continue it, and they continue it for years. So we meet for an hour, and we just basically make marks together for that first hour, and then we have a little bit of a discussion afterwards. You have the option to share during that last half hour, but that's not what this class is about. It's not about making something to share at the end of the class. That's a lot of what my workshops are about, is doing just that. Most other teachers teach like that too. We are going to share at the end. But that's not what this is about. This is about your practice. It's about showing up, making marks, and having fun without judgment. And I think whenever we are in the mindset that we're going to have to share something, we have judgment because we're already getting into that mind that somebody's going to judge it. So the more you approach your work without judgment, the better your practice will become, because you won't be doing that in the studio either. You won't be judging in the studio either. You'll just be approaching with freedom and hopefully creative abandon that will keep you creating and not judging. The basis for this class is accountability. It's showing up for yourself, for your classmates, and just making marks together. And when you have somewhere to go and people to see and talk to, it just keeps you going. It's as simple as that. It's human nature. If you've ever taken a class with me, you know that I say over and over again, ad nauseum, 5 to 15 minutes a day of mark making will change your creative life, and it really does. Ask anyone who's taken this class and who has kept up with it how it has changed their life. First thing is that you approach your work with more confidence. You know what you're going to be doing, you know what you're going to be working on, and you will, even if it's just experimenting, you know that it's okay if that experiment doesn't come out, because this is what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm supposed to be pushing forward in my work. And this class will give you the confidence to do that. At the same time, building confidence is it will give you your own artistic voice. So many people tell me in my workshops that's what they want to achieve, is their own voice, their own style, something recognizable that is them. And through doing the mark making over and over again, you're creating your own signature, your own mark that no one can copy. It is like your signature. Your signature should be something that is unique to you, and we all have unique signatures. Now, a great forger might be able to copy it, but no one is going to write your name the way you do. And that's the same with your marks. No one's going to do it the way you do. So keeping up the habit is really difficult to do on your own, as some of you know, many of you know. I know because people have told me, and they say, I tried the 5 to 15 minutes and it worked for a little while, but then I gave up, or something came up and I just didn't do it again. And then you'd have this sketchbook that has, 5 pages in it with these really great drawings, and then at the end there's just all this empty stuff. And I know because I've done it myself. I have lots of sketchbooks that I started and then have these empty pages. Well, really not anymore, but because I do my 5 to 15 minutes a day. But I know what it's like. I've done it before, and I'm going to help you to get out of it. It's like being on a roller coaster, when you keep up your mark making. It's like this roller coaster, and you're just riding the ride and riding the ride. But when you stop, the roller coaster ends, and it's over. And that's kind of the way it is for some people who don't keep their mark making up. And I understand that, totally understand. We want to keep the roller coaster going. We want to keep that excitement going. We want, the roller coaster ride of ups and downs. We want to keep them going. And once we know we can, it doesn't stop. It's just an endless ride of creative happiness, of studio happiness, of mark making happiness. We want to make it a habit. We want to make it a smooth habit that just fits smoothly into your life. We want to make it a thing that you do in your life that if you didn't do it, you didn't feel complete, kind of like brushing your teeth. If you don't brush your teeth, it's like, what did I forget to do this morning? Oh yeah, that's why I feel so icky. Same thing with mark making. There's an icky feeling, there's something missing. You have to do it. And that's kind of how I want you to approach this, is building that up, doing it at a comfortable time of day. And it's not something that you say, oh, I forgot my mark making, and you just kind of go do it. It's something that you do and you kind of relish and you're excited to do it. And that's how it'll start to fit in. It wants to become who you are creatively so that you get stronger, faster, better in the studio. So I always use the analogy of exercise. If you do have an exercise program, you do it, twice, 3 times a week. And if you don't do it, you feel kind of like there's something kind of missing in your life. Your body starts to feel stiff. It starts to not feel as good. So let me ask you this. How many times have you gone into the studio without having a warm-up exercise to do? And you don't know what to do. You don't know how to get started. You start puttering around, you start cleaning, straightening things up, organizing. And sometimes that could be good. Sometimes that could be a good way to begin, but not every day. And then 1 or 2 hours goes by, and what have you done? You've cleaned, your studio's spick and span, it's well organized, but you haven't really done anything as far as studio work goes. When you have a warm-up exercise to look forward to, when you're going to the studio, you know exactly what to do. You pick up the sketchbook, you begin your mark making, and there you are. Your muscles are warmed up, your creative mind is actually warmed up. Then there's a physiological change that's actually taking place when you warm up your creative mind with your mark making. You are changing something, you're getting ready. And the same thing is happening that happens with exercise and stretching, happens with mark making and creating in the studio. Also, maybe you're going to be experimenting with some things during your mark making, some new art supply that you've got, and you want to experiment with it and be free to do so. That's kind of where we want to go with this. We want to be experimenting without judgment. And maybe some of those mark making experiments will make their way into your studio work. That's when the exciting thing happens, when the mark making and the studio work start to meld together and those experiments start to actually become a body of work. And that is so exciting. Can't tell you how many times I've seen it. This mark making time is for you to make mistakes, to push yourself, to go to places you might not feel comfortable going in the studio, and to make anything you want, just to feel free to do that without judgment. If you can imagine yourself without judgment, it can happen. So this is not about showing. It's not about hanging things on the wall. It's not about selling. That is for your studio practice. That is the investment that you want to make into your studio practice. This is just to build your creative muscle, to keep yourself accountable to yourself in the studio. That's what this is all about, and to do it without judgment. It's about fine-tuning that creative muscle and experimenting with a really fun group that you know will be there for you at the end of the day and to draw with you and make marks with you. At the time I started this mark making group, now going on 3 years ago, I had wanted to do it for years. And I thought, why aren't I doing this? Why aren't I doing this? Why am I not? Ask yourself, why aren't you doing this? Why can't you start in a few weeks with us? So I do hope you will join us.